welcome to this edition of Business Supes, where we interview local successful business owners, learn a little bit about them, their business, and of course, what their business superpower is. Today, I am joined by Todd Frankenfield from iFoam of Greater Tulsa. Todd, welcome.
Well, thank you.
All right. Well, let's jump right on into things here. So, tell us a little bit about yourself and your business. I guess your origin story.
Okay, so born and raised in Oklahoma, attended the University of Oklahoma. Out of college, I ended up getting into the oil and gas industry, where my wife was as well. And we lived in the Woodlands for 15 years or so, working in that space. And then we had an opportunity to move back to Oklahoma, where we were working for an oil and gas company in Oklahoma City, which, we love being back in Oklahoma, but they had some tough times. And so we had to relocate back to Houston. And in that time frame, I had decided that I wanted to be a business owner, and kind of take things into my own hands and be responsible for, my own success in a lot of ways. And, take, I guess, my potential to earn what I feel like I'm worth. And so looked around at different businesses that were existing to purchase. And then I came across a couple of franchise opportunities, and iFoam was one of them. And as I did research, I really kind of fell in love with the parent company and the business itself, and was purchasing this, intending to open this up in in Houston. Then we got an opportunity that came up right before we were going to open in Houston here in Tulsa. And so we were like, yes, let's get back to Oklahoma. The kids were all for it. And so, so we moved back, opened this up, and here we are.
Awesome. So you said you researched a number of different options out there. What was it specifically about iFoam that got you so excited?
So number one, the parent company, the guys who had founded this, they had a ton of success with previous businesses in the franchising space. Really kind of knew that model really well, and were focused on building a franchise model that was helpful for gave business owners and franchisees the best chance of success. And so they had a bunch of systems and processes in place, which was cool for especially an emerging brand. And so that was one of them. And then culturally, I felt like the owners and the environment there was a good fit with my wife and I. And then we ended up doing a bunch of research on insulation, spray foam insulation. And I saw that there was a pretty big need, and there's a lot of value to be added in that space. And so all the things just kind of clicked and checked all the boxes for us. And that's what we decided to do.
Okay, very cool. And yeah, that is definitely one of the benefits of going with a franchise, is that they do have all of those systems and processes already created for you. So you can learn from other people's mistakes instead of having to make them yourself. So
Sure.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about iFoam. What exactly does iFoam do?
So we are an insulation business. I think, one of my thoughts coming into it was this was going to be just a spray foam insulation business, and I had this blow-in rig that was going to be used, every now and then. But what we've kind of found out is there's a need for both in the Tulsa area, and so we do blow-in insulation and spray foam insulation, and hybrid applications and all kinds of things in between. So like I had mentioned, before, the interview started, we've even got a pretty interesting job where we're going to be doing spray foam on a tanker. And so, on the outside of a tanker. So, there's a lot of applications. I mean, there's even spray foam in the roofing side of things. And so a lot of applications, but so far we've been mostly focused on residential work and blow-in and spray foam insulation in those homes.
Okay, very cool. So I imagine that there's something about iFoam that kind of sets you apart from your competition. What would you say that that is?
So I I think there's three differentiators that kind of separate us. Number one is it's a unique business model. We're locally owned and we're nationally backed, and so there's some competitors here in this area that are national companies that get great pricing because they have quantity behind it, and so um, we're able to get better pricing because we're a national company, but
Mhm.
it's locally owned. It doesn't go. I mean, obviously you pay royalties as part of a franchise, but um, they're not making money off of that piece of it, and so we get that aspect of things. Number two, like we've got the top of the line equipment. My spray rig, I'd venture to say there's there's probably not another rig in the Oklahoma area that's as high end with technology and top of the line equipment. So with it, and then on top of that, they provide world class training to all of our employees, and so they're certified with working with the technology and the foam, because I mean it's really what I came to find out is it's not just picking up a gun like spray gun and spraying it. You have to really understand
Mhm.
the chemicals and the way it mixes and the equipment, and there's a lot to it.
Okay, very cool. So, so you said that you met your wife in the oil and natural gas industry. So is she a part of the business as well?
She's involved to an extent, but she's got her job, so she lets me kind of do this. But yeah,
Okay.
it's a team effort. I rely on her input and thoughts on things. We worked together for you know directly together for 15, 16 years, and so we've got a good working relationship, and so
Mhm.
it's helpful to have a partner that supports you and all the decisions and questions that you have.
Yeah, and that's a great point, making such a big leap coming from, the corporate world out to taking things on by yourself. That's impossible to do without, without a cheerleader or two on the
Sure.
sidelines or even on the field with you. So that's
Yeah.
fantastic. So what's the outlook for the business for 2023? What are you expecting to happen?
I think we're still grow. I mean, obviously there's some slowdowns in the construction space, with inflation and higher interest rates, but there's still a lot of work out there, and we're relatively new to the Tulsa area, and we are constantly in this growth mode, and so I think for us this year, um, we have a goal of getting two additional builders per month, yeah, adding in to the commercial construction space, and growing our team. Whereas I think some of our competitors may be looking to reduce the size of their teams. We're in a growth mode, so we've set ourselves up from a capital perspective to achieve growth and handle some of the maybe the place to grow. And so that's what we're trying to do this year is grow.
Okay, very cool. So when do I need iPhone? So if I'm a homeowner or if I'm a home builder or if I'm commercial, when would I need to contact you to say, hey, come help?
So we could go from the early stages as you're planning a new build, a new construction project, and you're putting plans together and you're trying to estimate the cost of the project. We can come in and give you quotes early on that project so that you have a baseline. You could be at the point where you need to add insulation. Hey, come out and we'll come out and measure and give you an estimate. Uh, and we go even as far at you got metal buildings and ag buildings and things like that where we'll come in and add insulation. And then we've a big footprint in the residential retrofits. And so if you've got an older home, maybe you don't have you've got issues with the heating and cooling. Maybe your electric bills are crazy, or you know, you're supposed to change your insulation, that blow-in insulation, every 5 to 10 years. And so one of the things that people don't do is they never change the insulation. You get up in these attics and there's a lot of allergens, and you get rodents up in the attic, and you just you end up taking the opportunity to reset and have a nicer environment. And so in a lot of cases, these homes are below code, current codes, and how much insulation they have. And so you're supposed to have at least a foot of insulation. And if you can see your rafters, then it's time to change the insulation. We do blow-in insulation in those scenarios. We'll remove it, put fresh blow-in insulation, but we also do spray foam. And we're big believers in spray foam and the benefits around that. It's a lifetime warranty. Once you get it in place, you don't have to do it. It's a far superior product. It's a little heavier investment, but I won't buy a home without it. I'll just say that.
And I love that you call it an investment too, right? Because so many people look at things these days and think, well, how much is it going to cost? But it's your home. It's your biggest investment, and putting the right things and the best things into your home makes an awful lot of sense, especially if you want to turn around and sell it. So that's really cool.
Sure.
All right. So let me ask you this. We've heard it said, that your business can only grow to your level of competence. So what are some things that you do, maybe some practices for personal growth, or podcasts, or books, or what do you do to keep the saw sharp?
So I read a lot. And so constantly reading, listening to podcasts, talking with other owners, other business owners. I've got mentors that have been successful business leaders in their communities that provide a lot of feedback and input. And so just that combination of things. And then there's a whole plethora of resources available to us as franchise owners. We just got back from the business conference last week with all the brands underneath this parent company, and had some fabulous speakers talking from sales and time management and culture and all kinds of things. And so it's a constant learning process.
1,000% agree. And that's great to hear, because so often business owners get in and they get stagnant, right? There's the whole saying of green and growing, or red and rotting. So of all the books you've read, which one would you say has had the most impact on you so far?
Well, I would say, gosh, that's a great question. Maybe the entrepreneur operating system. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. Traction, EOS. That was a valuable tool as far as visualizing and the steps that you could do to help that vision come to fruition, and how do you measure it, and how do you manage all of those moving pieces and the key performance indicators to help your business succeed.
Yeah, Bob, that's all music to my ears. I love hearing that. All right. So the question everyone's been waiting for: what is your business superpower?
I'll tell you what I believe our team. I hired a fantastic team. When you hire the right people, it makes. There's really no monetary investment that you can make if you hire the right team, they're going to pay for themselves and more. And so we really focus on our culture, our team, and everybody's invested in what we do and the success of our business. Everybody's 100% bought in. They live and breathe our culture and our goals.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, because you hear so many people these days talking about it's so hard to find good workers, and nobody wants to work, just want a paycheck. And those people are out there, but I think it goes back to the mindset and how well you treat them. So that's fantastic.
Sure. Yep.
Yep. All right. So last question here. What nugget of advice would you have for other business owners?
Prospective business owners or current business owners?
Either or.
Um, I would say, gosh, I mean, you're never going to have all the answers. There's always going to be questions. You're always going to be a little unsure. Um, so you get to that 80% and you got to make decisions and live with the results, and then be willing to pivot when things are changing around you. Last week we had a speaker that, gosh, what was his saying? He's basically was talking about, people are successful in every environment. And so you either find a way to be successful or you're going to fail. And so um, there's opportunities in every environment. And so just adjusting and taking that mindset of there's a way.
Yep. No, that's fantastic. That is fantastic advice. So, all right. Well, Todd, thanks so much for joining us today. We certainly do appreciate you sharing a little bit with us about yourself, your business, and your business superpower.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're very, very welcome.